Hello, I'm Andy, and today I want to cast another round of 3D Titans tournament. This is the biggest 3D tournament ever, which means, yeah, it's pretty stacked with good players, and it has the biggest prize pool, and so we want to see some good 3D games. In the background you'll hear some Age of Empires 2 music, and we are just going to watch this game unfold. So this is between Tanner or Tgap versus Cabo, and they're both playing as the Germans. I'm honest, I didn't play Germans too much in 3D, so I really can't say too much about the booms, the boom and stuff. But all in all, what's good with Germany is we have the settler wagons, which means you can get 140 villager population, so you can get a lot of resources, and then after the boom ends, you delete some villagers, and you also have the option to train them again. So you can, if you're running out of resources, you can always go back to 140 villagers. So okay, interesting, sorry. And yeah, so you have always the option to go back to 140 villagers and get some more economy out if that's needed. So that's really strong. They also have the one heavy cannon plus 4 Ulans. These heavy cannons are really good. And yeah, also you get the 4 Ulans for free. The only real downside for this card is that 15 population is blocked by selling this card. But other than that, it's a really solid card. He's aging with the Town Center wagon. I think that's the best choice to do it. He's also using the Germantown farmers. So with the Germantown farmers, he's just deleting the Ulans, so he's not housed. And with the Germantown farmers, you're able to train settler wagons from your mills, and it's what he's doing. He's also getting 3 TCs. Let me just put this random so we're getting some more chill songs here. Yeah, and all in all, like the main strong point of Germany is that they do have a very strong economy. They also have access to DOPs, so double certainers. They are a really strong melee infantry. That said, melee infantry is generally not the best unit type, so having a really strong bad unit type isn't too good in my opinion. They do have good cannons. They do have okay cavalry. The Ulans do have a lot of upgrades, but they are very pop inefficient in itself, so they are very high attack and low HP, and for your melee cavalry you typically want to have it the other way around, so high HP, low attack, so it can tank more damage. Yeah, the skirmishers are also kind of mediocre, so war wagons are decent, but they're still like this thing, like they have good melee infantry, they have an interesting goon type unit, but melee infantry and goon type units are not really the power units in 3D, so you want to have good skirmishers, good musketeers, and good melee cavalry, so this is usually the main bulk of your army. And so yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of Germany, but as I said, I'm also not playing it, so I can't judge it too much. So they can fight for a very long time in nuts, in natives, because their economy is so good. And yeah, all in all, it's just see how it plays out. So maybe some information about. So I watched Cabo play. Cabo is a pretty defensive player. He struggles a bit with splitting, so if you can divide his attention, you force him to make mistakes. He also I think he also has trouble keeping his population up at 200. So that's, I think, his main weaknesses. He maybe doesn't make enough cannons also. So from what I've seen him play and from playing against him. But other than that, he's a solid player. Tenna I haven't seen, to be honest. So I can't say too much about him. So for the boom, capital in front, okay, that's interesting. I've not seen that yet. So with Germans you can afford to just chop all the wood, and that's pretty good, because then you can get some good walls. Usually you have to wall around here these trees, and with Germany you can just cut everything and get a really nice base going. You also can cut these trees. These trees are very annoying if you want to get bases. You have to get them here, and then they have through here and are being delayed. Also, if you are losing some ground and you have to fight here and there are trees, then it's also not really good. Usually, because your artillery pieces will go in every direction, but not in the one where you want them to, so that's also not really good. Okay, base layout. So I think this is a good... For the most part, this is a good base layout. I don't understand two stables. I think you only need one on this map, because you can insta-train them with the upgrade from the natives. I also think that here's a gap in the wall. Not that it should matter too much, but there's a gap. He's also just making the outwards wall. And yeah, no outward spaces. I think most people do that. Book also does that, so seems to be the go-to. I like some bases here, just because like if you have bases here on the outside, then they get easily sniped by some mortars here and here. But if you have bases here, typically there are no random mortars which snipe them, because they have to go in very deep here, and then you can send in units from here and easily deal with it. So, but if you have bases here, then mortars can shoot from here, and it's way harder to deal with it. So that's why I like to get some bases out here. I think that makes perfect sense. Like until here, and just wall outside here, and then get some bases inside here, so I can defend it. It's going for a push here. So, oh yeah, there's some trees spawning on the plateau. I wonder what happens if he cuts all of these trees. Will they try to climb up and chop this? I think we are not going to find out, but interesting question regardless. So, closing, so he's telling him to get out. And so as I said, he's... Oh, maybe he left that gap intentionally so he can still move out. He left that gap for Tgap or Tgap. All in all, the boom started better for Cabo, but now Tgap has the better, has more resources. He has more, mainly more wood. Okay, so maybe we can also talk about the decks a little bit. So he's using the Bürgermeister. This basically, if you don't know what it means mayor in English. So Bürgermeister. He has the hand infantry attack. He's preferring that over hand infantry HP. So personally, I would always pick the HP over the attack for melee units, but he prefers the attack apparently. He also doesn't have the HP for the cavalry, so he does have the long range infantry hit points, so he has some bit tankier skirmisher, So sadly this is also not the thing you want on ranged infantry. So you want attack on your skirmishers and not HP, so they can deal out more damage. But Germans don't have access to this card, so he wants better skirmishers. He does have some dopped upgrades, and yeah, maybe the idea behind this card is that they do more siege damage, so you can siege down faster because you're mainly using them for splitting. Oh my god, my PC, stop it. Okay, sorry, I paused really quick. Okay, so I just closed some tabs, hopefully it's better. You didn't miss anything, to be honest, like it's just booming here, so... Let's look at the deck of Cabo. So he's also taking the Bürgermeister card. I would think that Cav HP is more important. Or do you get that... so you can build a TC faster? So personally, so I'm not a German player, but I would take Cav HP over this card, over the dog. He also... I think the decks are just the same for the most part, right? Yeah, it's exactly the same deck, so there's no advantage gained. Yeah, so personally, so I'm not no German player, but generally I would always prefer the HP over attack for melee units, but maybe the standard is attack, because they have a way higher base attack, so 15% on a higher value means more, gives you a higher benefit. I don't know. Let's just see how it plays out. So Cabo is positioning for the natives. They also still have their... well, let's quickly see how much they scouted. So Cabo didn't scout too much, but Tenna also didn't scout too much. So I mean, he knows the base layout, so I think he spotted everything he needs to know. Cabo doesn't really, I think, so he would like to have a bit more information, but I think he can figure out the rest from what he's seen. So yeah, so they are positioning for natives. He also chopped all the trees here. So let's see what is actually the... oh, he's getting some heavy cannons, Tenna. I like the decision, so I think heavy cannons are... like for Germans you can do it because you get the upgrade anyway, because you have the infinite card. And for... I think you can justify going heavy cannons with all civilizations who have engineering school. So that means you're basically getting the most value out of your factories if you're using them to produce heavy cannons. And also heavy cannons do have 2 more range than horse artillery. Yeah. And so they are annoying to deal with. Of course they are a bit slower than horse artillery, so positioning matters a bit more, and they are a bit harder to keep alive once they are in a bad position. It feels like you cannot outmove... oh wait, no. I don't think you... stop. I don't think you can outmove Caverns, so he can... I think Caverns can chase them down. Oh no, heavy cannons are faster. Don't mind me. Okay, so let's look at the starting army. So he's going for war wagons, some skirmishers, and some dops. And so Cabo did this. He's positioned to fight for the nuts. Both are positioned to fight for the nuts. They do have some units here to try to deny the walls going up. Yeah, I think Tenna is late with his heavy cannons, so he really wants to have them here when the fight starts. But other than that, I think it's open for both. Like if one of these players decided to go full dobs, then I think he would just roll over. But no one did. It's kind of all in, but it would be fun, I guess. Okay, so let's slow down. He's getting barracks. He's positioning to fight for the natives. He wants to get the walls out. Those walls are very nice to get out. Here are the... yeah. Basically they want to get the walls out. And now you see he has the artillery advantage. He has more caverns, and with those more caverns he can just snipe any cannons, and that means his infantry cannot move forward because it will just get blasted away by Imperial cannons. Cabo also can't really use Ulans, so if he would flood him with Ulans now, then he could clean him up, but then again you really can't flood a German player who has some dobs left because they are 3-hitting them and they are also doing area damage. So it's really painful to send Millicap into dobs, so he doesn't want to do that. He is currently at move command here, and Cabo probably needs to get out some... oh, really nice shot here. Cabo needs to get out some caverns of his own and win the Calf fight here. Don't have a chance. Because without he can't. He can't win the fight basically. Or the alternative, I think he could still just make a lot of dobs and just walk there and kill everything. I don't think that skirmishers would kill them fast enough. But yeah, so he's stabilizing, he's using his natives now to click down the cannon, so he got now 1 down. Now his caverns coming. I would have loved if he would have just gotten more of them. He has 5, so should be able to deal with his caverns. But the positioning means that these Imperial cannons, heavy cannons, will stay alive longer, because once he tries to snipe them, then they will be in range of the caverns, and so this is very well positioned. They are getting a lot of damage on, so yeah. But last game I casted off Cabo, he had trouble keeping it 200. Not this game though. He's staying at full army size for the most part, so that's really good. And that means he also really can't be pushed. Like if you have a full army and it's fighting on the same spot, then you shouldn't be pushed basically. Okay, now he's getting the natives. He's getting more caverns. I would have loved if he mixed in some horse artillery. So once he wins this, or even if he just plants down a horse artillery here, it would shoot all the melee stuff, and the caverns can't really move forward here to snipe it. So, and if they come, you can just walk back. So yeah, so what is this back music here? Just wanted random stuff. Okay, so if he get like some horse like he's doing here. So I think usually what happens if you are in this kind of situation and you have this heads-on fight in natives, or generally if you have this heads-on fight, then the one who can keep his artillery pieces alive usually just trades better and eventually outlasts the opponent at some point. I mean, Germans do have a lot of resources anyway, so it might take a while, but that should happen. And it's also kind of what's happening. He's running out of wood already. Cabo is that is. And he also has less resources than Tenna. I think. Maybe they're still at the same amount. So. But overall, he should be trading better just because he has his artillery pieces. Then again, he doesn't have mortars and he's fighting under towers. That means tower also give a huge DPS boost, so they are not to be underestimated. They are dealing exceptionally much damage against cavalry, so melee cavalry. Germans doesn't rely too much on melee cavalry, so yeah, but they're doing much damage anyway. So yeah, but also the downside of using the towers here, like this is already really narrow, which means your units get stuck here, and especially your artillery, like your cavalry's, they tend to just group up here, and if Tenna has 2 cavalry's and just shoots here, he will do a double kill, maybe even a triple kill, and it's all because it's so narrow here. So towers are nice, but ideally you want to fight here, you want to fight in front of the towers and not directly at the towers. So at the moment it still looks good. Oh, I mean, I can also do it like this. And yeah, but there's nothing much going on any side. He still has those 2 units, so he could like attack here. He also started his trading post, but he didn't finish it. This trading post shouldn't stay alive, to be honest. He had a lot of time to delete it, Tenna that is. And yeah, no one is attempting to split push, so maybe get some bases out here and send some dobs here and siege down this, or some mortars, and slowly try to divert the attention of the other player. I think that works great against Cabo, but maybe Tenna is confident, or maybe he just doesn't want, maybe it's just not his playstyle, maybe he just wants to fight heads up until someone drains up. And yeah, so they're still somewhat at this somewhat close point wise, or they are really close, so they are trading evenly. Cabo is pushing Tenna back here, so he really should get up some towers here if he can. Oh, this is also this is a really good tower of Tenna. I think Tenna should get out a mortar and start blasting away this. Maybe even get a mortar out here and get a gate here, and then delete those bases. He also, Tenna, I think, should use more artillery. So currently there's no coverance out from any side. So the one side who makes some oh, great shot by Cabo, by the way. The one side who makes some horse artillery just gets to dominate the fight. I think he's struggling a bit to keep his population up. Especially his nuts, he doesn't keep his natives produced, and it's partly because he doesn't have any wood. So Tanner got a lot more wood out at the start, and that's working out in his favor. I think that's the main reason why he's pushing back Cabo. Good shot again, but now they're in melee range. Yeah, so... And that's what I'm saying, like if he has some horse artillery maybe here, then he would just do so much damage to these melee units, and Tanner wouldn't really be able to contest it. So yeah, he also needs some towers here, and here maybe some walls. But I think they're just like, if he wants, how do I say it? Ideally you want to have some walls here, so if something is slipping through, you're not or no villager can run here and build some stuff here or some town center. But as I said, I think both players they're just not the kind of player who does that. They just want to go face first into the opponent, spam stuff until one side collapses. So one interesting thing. So Cabo didn't send all cards yet, while Tanner sent all cards yet. That means Tanner has traded a lot better because he got more experience, and now you also see the point difference. So I think this started when Cabo ran out of wood, so he couldn't keep his natives up, and so he's always fighting a bigger army, and now those skirmishes are uncontested. They are only some cavalryns, but he really doesn't need cavalryns now. He needs some horse artillery to blast those guys away. Those cavalryns are not doing anything for him at the moment. So he's doing it really well. Tanner, that is. He's keeping them back, forcing Cabo to go forward. Oh no, these were some decent shots, but they are clumped up again and die again. So he's pulling them back and forcing the horse artillery, or the artillery of Cabo. They're forcing the artillery of Cabo to go too far forward. Just one step too much forward, so before their front line, and so they can be picked up by melee units, and that happened a few times already. And as I said, I think he would just need some horse artillery, but he doesn't want to do that. But he's getting the mortar to delete this stuff. I think these walls had holes anyway, so they were kind of useless. Anyway. And I think he also, if he loses this side, then he probably just collapses. It's a very skirmisher heavy army of Tanner. Gets some, so Cabo gets some Ulans, so he takes advantage of that, but like as I said, the Ulans only have 500 HP. Normal Hussars have around 700, so they have 50% more HP, and so they die really fast even to skirmisher fire, and they still need like 5 hits or 4 hits to kill skirmishes. And now the natives are coming here, so that's why it's kind of looking like Tgap is... It might look like Tgap is slowing down on his push on this side, but that's mainly because he's pushing on the other side here, and he's basically deleting those spaces of him, and he slowly runs out of space, Cabo. He doesn't run out of resources, but he will run out of space, and because he's taking bad trades, he probably will run out of resources also. Oh, and one more thing. So I wondered why why Cabo had more resources or less resources than Tenna, and that's mainly because Tenna deleted more villagers, and that's also partly the reason why he can push more. So he has like 50 more population Tenna for stuff, and those 50 population are the howitzers or the Cavern he just keeps in the back, and it's really also giving him the momentum he needs. I think he's also starting to reproduce villagers. Yeah. Good decision. Cabo finally managed to stabilize on this side. I think both people should send more cards. Like he stabilized on this side, but he's not stabilizing on this side. He's just getting pushed on this side, and it doesn't seem like he can stop it. He also it doesn't really have wood to replace all those bases. So I think he should have sent some villagers on board way earlier, because he can't even keep his military up at 200 or his natives out. So if he would have made more, oh, now he's finally making horse artillery, but it's a very bad position for them. So if he would have gotten out his villagers like to 90 or something again and used them to chop wood, then his army overall would still be bigger, even though he has more villagers. So he could have done that. He also still has those 4 population here standing. Yeah. What I can advise to some people, like in treaty, if you're mainly fighting at one spot and you're not splitting too much, then at some point you should just click here, move all military units to a single position, and then all your units, maybe if you have some units stuck in your base for whatever reason, I mean it just sometimes happens. Those are very bad houses, by the way. Okay. Then, like if you use this command to move here, then all units will move there, and you will have less idle military. You want to avoid idle military as well, so they are not doing anything here at the moment. Like at the very least, should be using them to siege down the walls here, just to be annoying, just so Tenna has to react. Also, Tenna is slowly running out of resources, so he's retraining villagers. Only has 1 town center. Did he delete it? No, he has 3 town center. So you should also use all town centers to produce villagers. That's also very useful. And you should also occasionally, like if you have the hotkey for that, you should occasionally use find all idle villagers and just click them somewhere so they can gather again. Because at the moment, like 10% of his already small economy isn't even working, and you want to avoid. I mean, he's winning anyway, but it's just some things to keep in mind. Yeah, I don't think Cabo can come back from this. Like he just doesn't have any wood. This is his main issue. He needs some villagers on board. He also needs to use these cards here more consistently. And I don't think he can come back. I think it's just going to be a walk. I don't think you can recover if you lose the natives like that and you're in a mirror match. Each trading post gives you like 23 extra infantry population. So he does have more than 23 times 4 is 92, so 92 more infantry population once he has secured all the natives. That means he doesn't need to train any skirmishers anymore, because he can train 40 of those Ola warriors and they do their job. I mean, they don't have that much range, but they are as good as at dealing with infantry, especially melee infantry, as skirmishers. And with poor Minkas, you can just block the enemy cuff charges. So I think you can just go make a lot of cannons. I don't know where he's going. Seems like a very bad waypoint for me. This is not a good way to use all your extra population, by the way. You also, what you saw him do, so he targets with his mortar. If you target a gate and there are units standing under it, then they will kill the units under it. I mean, it's not consistent, or it is consistent, but the unit needs to stand at the right or wrong position for them to be sniped by the mortars. So yeah, also something to keep in mind. Like, if you have mortars and the enemy is fighting under gates, you can target the gates and then get some very good shots off. Okay, so he's using all his natives to open another front. I mean, that's also a option to do it, I think. Like, the idea is probably that if you have on one side 100 or 200 unit, doesn't matter too much. So that means, so because they are blocking each other, if you have like too many units on one squad, they won't fight. So you want to split them up to different positions and let them fight and let them be annoying on the other side. Also, maybe he now remembers that Cabo isn't too good at splitting, so he wants to force some splits. But I think it doesn't matter. Like, either you push on one side really hard, or you open another front. I prefer to just push on one side with more artillery, so I can break it a bit earlier. But both are possibilities, and they both have their legitimate thought process, or they both make sense in some way or the other. Yeah. So he also should replace the native embassy here on this side. Oh, now Tenor ran out of wood. He has 14 idle villages. So if you would use, so he has those 8 villagers, at least 8 villagers idle for like the whole 20 minutes. If you would have just selected them all and sent them to wood at some point, then he wouldn't have run out of wood, basically. No. So these are the small mistakes which seem kind of small, but in the end they do matter, and they, yeah. I mean, he's still in the winning position, don't get me wrong. Oh, now did you see it? Here he used his mortars on the gate, and the Cavarin was in the gate, so it got killed by the mortar. It seems like the next shot also was on the Cavarin or on the gate, and the Cavarin was in the same spot, but it didn't die, so that's what I mean. It's not really 100% consistent. Or the area of effect is not as big as you would expect. Yeah, but it's good either way. So yeah, he still has his natives here. Or maybe he wants to get some native embassies here and continue his push with his natives. Okay, so he's using more. I think he's just going to continue to push like at the start with skirmish a heavy composition, some coverings to keep the enemy artillery in check. Because generally, I think he traded better with his artillery, but mainly not because the Calf micro was better, but because his positioning was better. So Tanner's positioning. And the artillery of Cabo died against melee stuff. Oh, now did you see it again? Another Cavern dead because of the mortar. This wall is also really not helping him, so he needs gates there ASAP. What he could also do, he could destroy the gates or the walls here and then just walk into his eco. He also kind of forgot these units here. And he has less units anyway, and so another 10 idle military you really can't afford. Like those 4 tier 11, 15 idle military, this could be like 4 caverns, just so you get some scale. But yeah, I think it's over. Like he's not running out of resources, but he's running out of position. Out of space to fight. So yeah. Not much to say here. It will. I think it's over soon. Yeah, he's just overrunning him. It's like I said, with 80 more population, it's just a matter of time until he collapses. And he also didn't trade. He traded bursts with equal numbers, and now he has less numbers. And so, how should he come back? If he was losing before, then how should he come back if he has even more disadvantages? So yeah, so this is the end of this game. Well played to both sides. I think what costed Cabo the game is he didn't use artillery too much, like especially at this point. He had some horse artillery to just keep the infantry in check. That would have been really good. And also the will delete of Tanner was really good. It gave him a lot of momentum to push through the natives, and once he had that, he could boom up again. So yeah, also some idle military, so this for that military here, then here were some dead units. Just those small things which add up over time. Cabo had a lot more resources. We will look at the villager graph anyway soon, so yeah, and Tanner just traded better for the most part. Because he had more population to fight throughout the game. So he had 15 more. Cabo had 15 more villager. And then with these idle units, that means Tanner also throughout the fight had around 20 more units, which is 5 caverns or those howitzers, which enabled him to push, or some horse artillery, like you saw him have 2 or 3 horse artillery here, just to force Cabo to make some caverns. So I think that's what mainly cost him the game. Yep, well played to both sides, and I think this is also the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and see you guys around. Bye bye!